Hey y'all. So I'm waiting on Carrie to get to the daycare. So I'm gonna talk to y'all while I wait on her. She's not here yet, but today's been one of those days where the orders just ain't really been that great. So I was like, I'm not about to keep doing the orders. I'm about to go get Carrie early, and then we gonna go eat or something before we do whatever our evening activity, because I don't know if we're doing bowling yet or if we're going skating. I don't know what we're doing yet, because her friend that we usually meet up with on Wednesdays, she wanted to do bowling, so we're gonna see what we're gonna do. But I just wanted to talk to y'all about making decisions. Like, I don't know why, but I was thinking about this. I've literally had to make hard decisions since I was a child. Like, I've literally been making hard decisions since I was a child, y'all. And having to go against the grain, like go against what was comfortable for me since I was a young child. And when I think about that, that's what makes me, I'll be like, okay, that's why it's so easy for me to face the adversities and things, that I go through now, But y'all, man, so when I was in elementary, I told you I grew up in the hood, right? So I went to Greeley Elementary, Horace Greeley. And there came a time, y'all. Oh, it's another order. Hold on, y'all. All right, y'all, I'm sorry. There came a time, like, I always knew, like, I was different. Trust me, like, they made sure I knew and I was aware of the fact that I was different from most of my peers. And I always felt different too. Like, certain things that they like to do and engage in and stuff, I just was never there for it. I just never cared for it. And so, I kind of always did know I was different, but the adults made sure that I knew I was different. So it comes to like my 5th grade year, and I have to, we're all like going to middle school, and usually, typically, you go from Greeley to either Gilcrease or Monroe. Those are 2 middle schools you go to. They're both still on the north side, North Tulsa. And one of my teachers, Mr. Wolf, well, not even just him, but other ones too, they were like, yeah, you're not going to, sorry, I keep looking up because I'm looking at Crystal because she keeps looking at me, so it's kind of throwing me off a little bit. But there was, okay, so I wanted to apply for some exemplary middle schools that were not in North Tulsa, because all of the adults, like my teachers and stuff, they were like pushing me, like, you got to do something different. You got to get out the hood. You got to this, you got to that. Like, since I was in elementary, y'all, it had been drilled into me, like, that I had something that could get me out of the hood. Like, this could get me out of the hood. And so, it came time for me to do in my enrollments and stuff, and I missed the deadline to ship it out, y'all. I wasn't able to mail it out because I didn't have stamps to mail it out. I couldn't afford it. And my mom was like, oh, it's too late now, and da-da-da-da. You just go to the schools as same school as everybody else. You always want to be different. Da-da-da. And so I was just like, okay, well, whatever. So I go to school, and Mr. Wolf, he's like, actually, I guess he knew. Okay, now I understand who he knew and how he knew that my stuff didn't get sent out, but I can't remember when, but he came to me. He was like, Ashley, did you send in your applications? Did you submit your applications? And he already knew I didn't. And I was like, no, I didn't. And he was like, why? I said, well, because I didn't have any stamps to mail it out. And he said, do you got him with you? And I said, yeah. And he said, okay, y'all, do y'all know that he took my applications down to the board himself and hand delivered them? Because that's the other thing too. Like, you could either mail it in or you could take your applications down to our school board and submit them that way. But my mom couldn't afford to take me to the school board, I guess. But then she didn't have money for stamps either. So, which is actually, now that I think about it, it's kind of crazy because she used to always have stamps in her purse. But we're not even going there. Hold on, y'all. It's been a bug in my car all day. I had to kill it. It's been in my car all day. And I hate bugs. Anyways. So he took them down there and submitted them himself in person, y'all. This man drove down to the school board and submitted my applications. I got accepted into all 3 schools that I applied for. My first choice, because they have you do a first, second, third choice. My first choice was Carver. My second choice was Edison. Was it Edison? I can't remember if Edison or Thoreau. I don't think I did Thoreau. I think Thoreau might have been my third choice, but I don't remember. I feel like I'm forgetting at school. But Carver was my first choice. Carver is where I wanted to go. And I don't even know why I wanted to go to, because Carver was the baddest school. It was the middle school that everybody wants to go to. So I'm like, that's where I need to be. Girl, if you don't slow down in this parking lot, people be just, So, Carver was the school that everybody talked about, that I heard everybody talk about being the best school and stuff. And so I'm like, I want to go where the best is. And so Carver was my first choice. I got my acceptance letter. It was like either spring or summer. It was like right before school started, because they sent me my summer reading and stuff. But this is the crazy part about it, y'all. So I'll go this whole time thinking I ain't got my acceptance letter. I was like, I guess I'm going to Gilcrease because I never got my acceptance letter, I never seen it come in the mail. And it was like the middle of the summer, and I can't remember what it was, but something just told me, like, there was like this little voice, and it was actually almost the end of summer now that I think about it. It was like, Ashley, just look in the mailbox, like open the mailbox. Like, me and my siblings were playing on the porch or whatever, and something just told me, just open the mailbox. And I don't know why I did, but I did. And I look in there and I said, like, what is this? And it was a thick envelope. And I said, okay. And so I opened it, and it was my acceptance letters, y'all. And it had my name on there and stuff. And it was like Tots Public Schools, the little symbol and stuff. And so I opened it, and they're going to keep sending me orders, and I'm not even about to take them. And I was like, oh my God, I got it. I did get accepted. I got it. Because I remember telling my mom the summertime, I was like, well, I haven't heard nothing. So I guess, I didn't get accepted. I guess everything I did wasn't good enough, And I'm not going to lie, y'all, I was really like defeated. I was sad about it. But then at the same time, I was just like, oh, well, whatever, because I'll get to still be around all of my peers that I grew up with. I won't have to go be by myself, because I was also really nervous about that, because y'all was a huge introvert. I still am now, but I was really, really shy back then. Like, I did not like talking to people for nothing back then. So I was like, okay, at least I'll get to stay amongst my the people that I know at this point. That's literally what I was thinking. That's how I was feeling, or whatever. Now the pressure is off of me to go and be great, to go and be this great thing from the hood, to be the one that really do something great, And so I see it, and I'm like, oh my goodness. Then I realize I have a summer reading assignment that I have not completed, because I was not even aware that this was a thing. I didn't know, whatever. And so had to do enrollment and all this other stuff, y'all. I end up enrolling myself, submitting my own enrollment paperwork, because once you apply for the schools, once you get approved or you get accepted, then you have to go do enrollment and all that. I don't remember exactly why I had to enroll myself, but I do remember I did enroll myself, which was against the rules, because your parent was supposed to do it, but she didn't. I didn't. And so then I end up coming back. So then, okay, I get accepted and stuff, and then I end up having to go to Kansas for the rest of the summer. I don't remember why that ended up happening either, but I was staying with my grandmother. Me and my cousin, we stayed with my grandmother in, I said Kansas City, Missouri. And so there was something that happened. For whatever reason, we end up coming back to Tulsa a week late. So the school year had started, y'all, a weekend. And I gotta come up in here, and I'm rolling up in here. Mind y'all, I don't know none of these people, okay? I don't know none of these folks. So y'all know how y'all see on like movies where they'll have like the kid that don't know anybody that's sitting in the bathroom and have their lunch? I was that kid for like the first 2 or 3 weeks. I was that kid. I would get me a Pepsi and a some of the Fritos, the barbecue Fritos. That's what I used to have for lunch. I would get those two, and I would go in the bathroom and I would sit and I would read until lunchtime was over. So at this time, y'all know I was working. Well, y'all don't know, but I think I've told y'all before. I think it's something on my screen. I think I've told y'all before that I started my first job at 12. I started working my first job at 12. So I had money because I was working for the Lawn and Tree Service at this time. And even though I got free and reduced lunch, and I remember having this conversation, my mom was like, yeah, I keep getting notices that you qualify for the free and reduced lunch, but you're not taking advantage of it. So I know that you're not eating lunch. What are you eating? And I was like, well, I'll just give me some chips and a Pepsi from the vending machine. And or some days it would be the chips and a Pepsi, and other days it would be the Snicker and a Pepsi. And I would be like, I don't want the free stuff. And I remember me and my mom used to always butt heads about this, y'all, because I always was against like the government assistance and stuff like that. And she used to always tell me, you think you're too good, you think you're but and so she was like, I keep getting notices that you're not taking advantage of, so I know you're not eating lunch. And I was like, I don't want the free stuff. I'd rather work for whatever I get. I don't want the free stuff. That was always my motto, y'all. I don't want the free stuff. I don't want it. And so she would be like, fine, you just go hungry then. You just be hungry then. And so then I make friends. Eventually, I make friends. Like after like 2 weeks, 3 weeks or whatever. And because they asked me, they were like, where do you be going for lunch? Because we don't never see you. And I was like, I don't know if I even told them where I was going. I might have said, I'd be going to the library or something. Like I might have lied or something. Just because, who wants to say, I just go sit in the bathroom on the toilet and read my book? That's crazy, right? So, yeah. So I just, yeah. So I am used to having to make hard decisions even from like early on. My teacher, the one that helped me with everything, because he helped me complete my enrollment, he helped me with the applications and all that. I remember him telling me there was 2 of us from North Tulsa that got accepted into the school. It was me and it was a guy named Tyrone Jones. And I remember him telling me, he said, according to the statistics, only one of y'all are going to make it. Only one of y'all are actually going to continue on. Like y'all both got accepted, but only one of y'all is going to make it according to statistics. And he said, I hate statistics. He said, but the numbers never lie. And he was like, so I don't know which one of y'all it's going to be, but I would hope for it to be both of y'all. He said, just give it your best. Keep your head down. Do what you got to do. You know, he's like, but only one of y'all, according to the math, only one of y'all, according to the numbers, going to make it. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to make it. It's going to be me. It's going to be me, because I'm going to make it. And I already knew that Tyrone had a temper. Like, he had a really bad temper. So I'm like, I can already see him get into a fight or something. So it's going to be me that's going to make it. So I was like, yeah, I had it set in my mind. Like, it's going to be me. Imagine that, y'all. Imagine that. Like, you are 11, 12 years old, and you have this big weight of pressure on your back that you got to be the one to make it out the hood. You got to be the one to do something different. You got to be the one, you know. And so then every day I travel back and forth. I have to walk all the way to my bus stop. And then the bus would take me all the way, because the school was not, it's in North Tulsa, but it's closer to mid Tulsa than it is to the actual north side. So it's off of Greenwood, Archer, Pine. If y'all know Gap Band and all that, it's over there. Excuse me, in that area, off of Peoria, all that area. So it would take me all the way there, you know, and then I would have to ride all the way back home. And then when I get home, I got to deal with the people in the neighborhood being like, oh, you think you better than us? Oh, she go to college, she don't know nobody no more, and she this and this and that, you know. And it was all of that. And so then I really felt like an outcast, you know, in the environment that I was growing up in. I go to school, I feel like an outcast. I go home, I feel like an outcast. It was like I just did not fit in anywhere. Like it really just always felt like there was never a place for me. And so dealing with that, you know, all of that, and I would have to tell them like, no, you know, I'm still like I'm still cool, I'm still from here, I'm still, you know. And they would be like, no, you're not. You got a Carver now. You're a rival now. I remember somebody actually telling me that, and I was like, what? Just because I go to this school, I'm your rival now? I mean, technically their teams were rivals, but I'm like, we've been cool since back in the day. Like, what, y'all? And so that was really hard. Like, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, it was hard having to get accustomed to the new environment, the new people and all that. And eventually I did, but it definitely took time. So, you know, it's just one of those things when, and I tell Carrie, because she even told me when she started at Mary Moore, she didn't know anybody because she had not been at these schools on this side of town. And so she said, she didn't tell me until like the first or second week. I think, or I said the first week. She didn't tell me until like maybe the second week. It wasn't the first week she didn't tell me. But she told me, she said, Mom, I was so scared when I started at the school she's at. She said, I was so scared. She said, because I didn't know anyone. And all I kept thinking was, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? She said, but then I told myself, I'm going to be okay. And she said, then when I made my first friend, then I felt better. Her first friend was Tegan. When she made her first friend, she began to feel better, you know. And then over the years, she's, you know, now she knows everybody and everything. But I, you know, when she told me that, I said, baby, I can relate to that, you know. And then I told her about my experiences, and she was just like, really? And I said, yes. I remember going through that, and I remember feeling like, I don't know, like, just like, I know I gotta do it. You know, I told someone, I've known my destiny since I was in elementary, and they were like, what? And I said, I knew what the purpose for my life was since I was in elementary. I knew it was not about me. It was never about me. It was always about the generations that are going to come behind me. So I always knew that I had to be the one to put in the work, to make the sacrifices now, to change the direction for my future generations. I've known that since I was a kid. No one else was doing it. So I knew that I had to be the one to step up to the plate and do it, because it was something that needed to be done. So, you know, this is really getting winded. Like, I did not realize this is going on 20 minutes, y'all. I'm so sorry. But, you know, so I already knew that. So since a young age, I've always been that different child that had to make those decisions, to make the hard decisions, to make the hard choices, to do the hard things. I've been having to do the hard things since I was young. So now it's like second nature to me to do the hard things, because I've been doing it for so long. So when people are like, oh, you just up and left the job, or you just up and did this, or you just up and did that, and you don't think about it, and you don't this, you know, I've had people say that to me. Like when I left Target, people are like, how could you just up and quit your job, and you know, this and this and this and that, and you got to think about it. You have a mouth to feed and all that. But at the end of the day, I've been making those same decisions since I was a young child. So I understand the importance of, and the benefit factor that can come from me making those decisions. You get what I'm saying? So when I had to go against the grain, and I had to go away from everything I know into this territory that was unknown, that was unfamiliar, with people that I don't know, I have no clue what this is going to be like. When I had to make that decision then, and I see the benefit, the gain that I got from doing that, y'all, I was able to network. I was able to meet people. I was able to get out and see different things. So, you know, because all of these kids that go here, they live on the South Side. So, you know, they live in the nice houses. Their parents are the elites of the society in our town, you know. So they are used to nice things. They are used to going on vacations and doing all this. But I got exposed to those things through them. You see? And so when people are like, well, how did you know? When I was in North Tulsa, I did not 100% know that there was going to be something better. Okay, let me say that, because I wasn't like really exposed to it. When I was 2, I was adopted by this rich lady because I got taken from my mom and all that. But that's a whole nother story. And I remember her taking me to like Red Lobster and stuff like that. But I was still so young. I don't really remember. I remember, but I don't really remember, you know, all the things I seen when I was with her. I remember the food, and I remember finding her dead. And I only remember that because my mom reminded me that I found her dead. Oh, but I just, something in me just always knew that there was more. And so in knowing that there was more, I was willing to do the things that I needed to do. And I was willing to not cower away from the things that I had to do. There you go. In order to get myself into the position that I needed to be in, so that the generations that come behind me will be able to step into the positions that they need to be in. So Eris, I was talking to her about this. So she is someone that I actually met from Target, y'all. But she has a YouTube channel too. On one of her videos, she was talking about how until you get into the position where you need to be, there's things that just can't happen. And that is true, and I've understood that from a very young age. So in order for certain things to happen, I know that I need to get myself into those positions where I need to be. And it's not always an easy thing to do. It's not always an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to say, you know what? I'm literally going to go away from everything I know, separate myself from everything I know, and go over here and do this thing that I don't know if it's going to be rewarding. I don't know if it's going to pay off. I don't know if I'll end up being alive or dead. That is not an easy thing to do. It's not easy to say, you know what, I don't know that there'll be a benefit, but I'm going to take the risk anyways. It's not an easy thing to do. And so even when I left Target, I was like, you know what, I've done this before. I'm familiar with this. And let's say it doesn't pay off. Let's say something happens where the business fails. I can always just go back to what I know. Going back to what I know is always going to be there. You can always be average. You can always go back to being average. But to actually take the risk and take the chance, it's like, what is it saying? It's like, you be like a shooting star, you know, even if you don't make it or whatever, you're still amongst the stars, you know. And so that's literally the way you have to look at it when you are going through and you are doing everything in life. Like, it's easy for you to say, you know what, that makes me uncomfortable. I probably don't want to do that. It's harder for you to do it. But understand that the reward is worth the risk. The reward is worth being uncomfortable. I was only uncomfortable for a small period of time before I became accustomed and I actually became acclimated into the environment. And people, I started to make friends and get to know people and know the teachers and all that, you know. And that's life. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable. For however long, you have to be willing to be able to uncomfortable. The people that are going to see the greatest things in life are the people that are comfortable being uncomfortable. So you have to get to that point where you say, you know what, this makes me uncomfortable, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm going to still thrive. And learning to thrive in an uncomfortable environment. That's why I'm able to deal. Like, I tell y'all, I don't want to really talk about what I go through on a day-to-day with the ship stuff and all the stuff that I've dealt, because it's hard to talk about something when you are in the midst of it, especially when you know that there are things that I have experienced that should have broken my soul. There are things that I have experienced that should have literally broken me down, y'all. Because in my mind, I would be like, how can another human being be this way? So for me, I can't talk about that stuff right now. I just can't, because I'm still in the midst of that storm. I'm still in the midst of it right now. So I don't want to talk about it. You know, my grandfather was a war veteran, and I remember when we were kids, we used to always ask him, like, try to ask him about, like, what was it like? What did you see and stuff? And he would have episodes and stuff, and he could never talk about it, y'all. And as someone that has lived through a lot of things now, especially growing up in North Tulsa, it's hard for me to talk about those things. And Carrie, she's always trying to pull them out of me. She was even, you know, asking me this morning about, like, the jobs I've worked and stuff like that. And I'm going through trying to remember every single job. I'm like, girl, I've had a lot of jobs. I'm trying to remember every single thing. But it's a lot, you know. It's not, it's a lot. And so you suppress it. You don't really want to talk about those things. But anyways, back to the decision, making the hard decisions. You know, it's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be easy. It might be favorable for you to make the decisions, but it's not always going to be easy. And so I want you to learn to get comfortable making the uncomfortable decisions, doing the uncomfortable things. I need for you to get comfortable in that so that you can grow to be the best version of yourself. Don't cower away because you can fail. You have to fail. Sometimes you got to fail just so you can learn who you are. You don't know who you are until you fail. And I cannot stress that enough. You don't know who you are until you fail. When you fail, that's going to show you who you are. That's going to show you what you have in you, what you need to work on to be better, so that then you can go out and try to do it again to succeed. You don't know who you are until you fail. It is okay to fail. It is a part of the process. It is an essential part of the process. And I need you to get that. I need you to understand that. Listen, make the hard decisions. Make the hard choices. Stop always taking the easy route. The easy route is, yeah, it's easy, but then what the reward is not as great. Higher risk, greater reward. That's with anything in life, y'all. That does not just apply to the stock market. That's with anything in life. The greater the risk, the greater the reward. Get comfortable being uncomfortable so that you can see the best things that you want in life. So you can, y'all, literally, look, when I tell you, even now, I am isolated right now. I'm in a period of isolation. Outside of you guys, I am in a period of isolation. I don't have anyone that I can pick up the phone and say, girl, I had a long day. Whoo, let me tell you about what happened. Or, girl, can you give me advice about this? What I should do about this? I don't have anyone that I can pick up the phone and call. And that is very uncomfortable because it reminds me of that little girl walking into Carver Middle School. Like, I don't know anybody. I don't know anything. What do I do? It reminds me of those feelings and all of those first feelings, you know? So it's uncomfortable, but I am learning things about myself in this period, in this time. That's another thing. You never want to stop learning about yourself. Always be open to learn about everything around you, whether it be micro or macro, everything around you. And then you want to know what's about yourself, what's in you too. You need to know what's in you as well. So I hope this helped somebody. I hope this is beneficial to someone. I really do. You know, I'm going to try to get back to more of these videos and really opening up and sharing more with y'all, so that you guys can really know who I am. But I can also be encouraging to you guys. I can maybe motivate. If I only motivate one person, if I can only motivate and touch one person, that will be enough for me. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. I just seen Carrie and them pull up, so I'm about to go grab my baby. I will talk to y'all on the next one. Take care.